Hi, welcome to Buy the House, Build the Home. We are back another day, another podcast, and are so excited for this one.
Yes.
Shelby, I'm going to let you introduce.
This is Brittany with Be Beautifully Organized.
Yes.
Did I do that right?
Yeah, you got it right.
I
Nailed
love
it.
that name. It's like, is it alliteration?
Be Beautifully Organized. That is a great name.
Thank you.
Yes, but we thought she would be the perfect one to come on towards the end of this year, beginning of next year. Actually, this might even be airing, I think, January, right at the beginning, to help everybody get organized in
Yes.
2025. So
Yeah.
we would love for you just to introduce yourself a little bit. How did you get into organizing? Who are you?
Yeah,
Tell
tell
us
us a
all.
little bit.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. So excited. So I'm Brittany, owner of Be Beautifully Organized. My husband and I do this business together now, which is exciting. We'll be at 3 years this month. Actually, it's our 3-year birthday. So, we have 5 children and we've homeschooled.
You see, that's so casual.
5 children.
We have 5 children.
Yes. So
You homeschool them as
yes,
well.
and we homeschool too. So I've
amazing.
been like in the thick of it for a long time.
Yes.
So probably about 2021, I was just kind of wanting my own thing, something outside motherhood and my husband's business. And I was like, what am I good at? Like, what do I do? But then on the flip side of that, my brother-in-law passed away and he left behind his wife and 3 young children. And I was like, well, I'm not going to cook for them because nobody wants that. But I can go and organize their house because like that's what I'm good at. So I helped her go through all of his things, get it organized. We did their pantry, all the kids' rooms. And I was like, I wonder if anyone would like want me to do this for them. I had no idea it was an entire industry.
Wow.
I'd never even seen the home edit at that point. I just thought I could do somebody's pantry.
I
So
love that.
yeah, so I just posted some pictures that I had done with friends on Facebook before, like pictures of other friends' pantries. And I was like, would anybody want this? And it just like blew up. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll do this. This is a thing. And so I started just by myself and then found out it's an entire industry. And now we've grown a team. We have 9 organizers and it's our business.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
That is amazing. I feel like organizing is one of those things people are either really good at it or really not. And for the ones that are not good at
And they
it,
attract each other.
yes, the ones that are not good at it, it's very daunting. It's like this overwhelming, like, how do I get this organized? And people really get in their heads with like over analyzing, am I doing it the right way? And probably if you're a little bit of a perfectionist, it can be really difficult to step into that world because it can just feel really like overwhelming. Have you encountered that with like clients you've worked with?
Absolutely. And a lot of our clients, and I think just people in general, have ADHD. And so that makes it even harder. It's like there's this invisible barrier between doing the actual task and yourself. So we definitely run into that a lot. And that's why we have a business, because it's either like it's your gifting or it's not. So
And I found that it's a lot easier for people to maintain after someone kind of comes in and sets it up for them. It's like instead of having to do the whole creative process
They can't
of where to
necessarily
put
vision
things.
cast.
Yeah, I think there's a massive, massive need for it.
yes,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
I actually saw that was one of the most common questions that you get is why can't I stay organized? And I would love for you to like unpack that with us. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, absolutely. So a big reason why people can't stay organized is because they have too much stuff. Just we as a society in general. I mean, think about 100 years ago when people were living like on in a small tiny house where you didn't have this amount of things. Now we have Amazon Prime. We have things shipped to our door every day. So I really feel like we just as a society have too many things and our brains are not even capable of upkeeping it all. So I think that's number 1. And number 2, your own things come with stress, with shame, with embarrassment, with anger, depending on whether some of it's your husband's or your wife's or whoever it is.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big part of it too. It's actually way easier for me to go in and organize things for, our client because it's not my stuff. I'm not mad at my husband for ordering this, for spending this money or whatever it was. So I think that's a big part of it too, just the emotions that come with it. And it's much easier for us to come in as outsiders and just look at it objectively as stuff without all the emotions attached to it.
Yeah.
That makes
And
a lot
it
of
is
sense.
very much a mental thing. It's like whenever you have so much stuff, there's science behind this. Psychologists talk about this. Like you can't think near as clearly as you can when it is cleared out, cleaned out, thrown away. I helped an older couple move, and they had not even started packing, and they'd lived there for like 35 years.
Oh, gosh.
And it was so much. And they were emotionally tied to everything. And the kids were like, okay, we told our mom to go in there, and they're like, just start putting stuff in bags. And you're like, for me, that's very easy to do, right? I'm like, okay, let's just put this over here. But for her, it was like, oh, there was that time, so I think, but it was hard for them to like think and process just because it was so cluttered in the home. And it wasn't like a hoarder situation. They just had a lot of accumulative things that they've accumulated over the years. And so it definitely affects you mentally. And then I think people get stuck, and then they just don't even start.
Yes.
I think there's also, I know they've done studies. How accurate these studies are, I don't know. But like men and women operate different in cluttered spaces as well. Typically men don't even like see it as much. They're kind of like, oh, well, whatever. Now, having said that, I know some very like more A-type men individuals that like it, everything in their place. But women in general need a cleaned up space to not feel overstimulated and all those things.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting as well, like the pairing there.
Yeah, I agree. And I've heard it said for women, it's like for men, they have one browser tab open at a time. For women, we have 87 browser tabs. So it's like while we're trying to work, we're also thinking about the mess back at home in the kitchen, So it's like the stress of the mess never leaves until we get it organized.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Makes a lot of sense. Okay, let me think. Organizing questions. You know what I would love to discuss is maybe some of those difficult spots, like places that people are always going, I don't know how to organize this space, whether it be a linen closet, a pantry, the kitchen, maybe a storage area, whatever that might be. But some of those most challenging areas that people bring to the table for you guys to do.
We get a lot of calls about garages, I think, because that's the area everyone just tosses things in and then just closes the door and tries not to think about it. But I think for garages, anytime you can use vertical space, that's going to help you. So we have a guy that we work with that'll come in and put overhead garage storage in.
I love those.
Yes, they're so fan. That's actually why we bought our house, because it already had overhead garage.
You're like, I'm sold.
I'm sold. This in a walk-in attic, absolutely.
Yeah.
So anytime we can use vertical storage, that's super helpful. We we come in, we'll mount shelving onto the walls, or even just get like freestanding shelving. We put bikes up on them. Everything you can do to get things off the floor. That's super helpful in those like high storage areas, the areas that you just have tons of stuff and it's going to be on the floor otherwise unless you get it up. So that's helpful.
So as part of it, let's say it's a kitchen drawer, with like 400 pens, like, do you go in and tell people, okay, you only need 5 of these, let's throw it away? Do you do part of helping them get rid of stuff, or do you just more go in and put it in its rightful place?
Oh, no. We declutter. Yes. And that's a big part about even what I talk about on our platforms is like, you really just can't organize clutter, not well anyway.
Right.
So we have a full process that we go through any space, whether we're doing a kitchen drawer or a garage or a bedroom, pantry, whatever it is, we empty out the space completely and we break everything out into categories with Post-it notes, so we can keep it all organized. And then we walk the client through step by step, like, is this keep or is this toss? We don't ask them if it's a donate or it's trash because that's too many decisions for them to make. We're just keep, toss, keep, toss, keep, toss. And some clients are quick with that. And some clients, like the people you helped, wanted to probably talk about everything. And either one of those is fine. We're half organizers, half therapists, but we really just walk through literally every single item. We try to group things, like if it's pens, we'll try to group things like that and say, okay, can we just pick the best ones for you or something like that? But yes, we really help declutter. That's a big part of what we do.
That's amazing. I've heard with like your closet and stuff, if you buy something new, to go in and take out something that you no longer wear. I personally have not been the best at that, but it's true. And then and then I'm like, I need to go through my closet. And then I have like 17 black shirts. And I'm like, they're all a little bit different, but I'm like, but do I need all of these?
Yeah.
But I think it would probably be easier if I were to, every time I get something new, remove something old And then that way my closet doesn't just get to where it's,
Right.
completely full. Do you recommend, like, so after you get the home organized, do you give like tips for like how to keep it organized, or once a month set your alarm and go through, I don't know, do you do anything like that?
We do. So we try to give them the 1 in, 1 out rule. So anytime something new comes in, something goes out. But just one easy way to do it on your own is turn all your hangers backwards. And then at the end of 6 months or a year, you're going to know what you actually wore and what you didn't. So that's one easy way that you can just do it on your own.
Wow. I actually had a situation, this is a little sidebar, but I had a situation with 2021. We had this big freeze in Texas. And I had a pipe burst.
Oh, gosh.
And part of what got flooded was the closet. And so all my clothes were like soaking wet.
Oh, gosh.
And as part of the insurance claim, I had to hire a fabric restoration company that came in, took all the clothes, they sorted through anything that was ruined. They basically assessed and paid me for it. And then they cleaned and, everything else. And so it was kind of cool, but I had to get rid of all my clothes that were in there. But then when I got them back, they all came with this little tag on it if it had been cleaned. And so I'd put them all in hangers and put it back. And then like later, I would be like, oh, this still has this tag on it and I haven't worn it. And it's been a year or
Right.
2 years. And that was 2021. And I was finally like, okay, at this point, it's 2024. At this point, I can go ahead and probably get rid of that. Even though it's really cute, I clearly don't wear it.
Yes.
So it is nice to have. That was such a nice thing for me to have this like tag. And there was a timestamp in it going, oh, that was from 2021. I'm probably not going to wear that again. But obviously you're not going to do that all the time. So the hanger idea is actually pretty genius.
I think on the therapy side of things too, what I have found, whether that be myself or even like family members, things like that, is if we use that type of technique, there's still a moment where you're going through those things and be like, oh, well, when I lose 5 pounds, I'm going to want to wear this. Or, well, when I do this or when I do that. And what I have found, I'll speak for myself, but what I have found is when I can kind of just go, you know what, I'm going to release that. And if I do lose 5 pounds, or if I do hit whatever goal that I'm, have got in front of me, I'll go and get something new and fresh. And that's actually been fun to kind of even release the shame of I'm not those 5 pounds lighter,
Right.
or I'm not in this current situation where I'm waiting to use this thing or do that thing. And it's hard up front, but when you're able to be really honest and just go, yeah, it's okay. It's okay that I'm not those 5 pounds lighter. It's okay that I'm not in this bigger house where I can be utilizing this thing, or it's okay, I don't have access to this yet, and let it go and just be present. I have found that that's very helpful as well. So if you're getting stuck in that, if you're like applying the 1 in and 1 out rule, or the hangers are backwards, things like that, and you're still struggling, maybe kind of look internally within and go, okay, is it actually worth keeping this for what ifs, or is it better if I'm present right now and kind of release that? But
Yeah, absolutely.
And
lots
stuff
tied to stuff.
Stuff carries energy too, right? So it's like, how do you feel when you pick those up? And going back to what you're saying, are you feeling shame because these are your jeans from high school that you can't fit in anymore? Maybe that's time to let go of and get rid of it, right? And then, or does this make you feel like, oh, I love this, right? Yeah. And something else I've done, even with the couple I was mentioning, was she had so many birthday cards because she loved this person and what they wrote, and it was so great. And so I was like, let's take a picture of it. Yeah. So we would take a picture, and then we got a file and put all the pictures on file, and we're like, anytime you want to go back and see that, you have a digital copy, but we can throw this paper away. It's disintegrating.
Yes.
So are you able to do digital things like photography, things like that?
We do. We don't do it a lot, but we do sometimes. And we'll do the things like, let's take a picture of it. If this is really important to you, but it's this big, bulky thing, let's take a picture of it, and then you'll have it in your favorites photos.
Memory and whatnot.
Wow. Yes.
I love that. Okay. What happens if maybe one family member is really on board and the others are not on board? How do you kind of meet a happy medium there?
So if it's husband and wife, obviously we're not going to get rid of anybody's things that doesn't want to. So if it's the husband that doesn't want to get rid of things and he just doesn't want to release something, we're not going to make him do it, but we'll do the best we can for the wife. Now, what I found though, is that once we get all the other areas of the home organized and he sees her have her closet organized or her things organized, and he's like, actually, this is kind of nice. Like, and then he starts slowly kind of coming around, right? So that's that's the best way to do it. Really just lead by example.
Do you find that it is typically women that want the organization first and then the men follow along, or is it 50-50? Like, is there any type of trend or pattern there that you've noticed?
I'd say 70% women, and they're frustrated because their husbands are messy. Okay. But then there's that 30% that it's actually the husband is like, we have got to bring somebody in because this is not going well.
Yeah. So if you are just going to get started with someone, do you have a specific, like, do you start with the kitchen? Do you let them kind of drive the area that you start with? Let's say they want everything organized, entire home. Mm-hmm. Do you have like we found that it's best if we start here, this one little corner, so that we can knock that out and then go to here? Or how do you really get started?
We generally start with the pantry because it's such a high touch area and it's such a pretty area to make, and like if things are pretty, you're going to be more likely to upkeep it because you enjoy it. So we like to start in a pantry because it just makes such a big impact. Everyone sees it. The whole family gets to enjoy it. If for some reason we can't start with the pantry, we would start with the bathroom because it's pretty emotionless. But the thing we would do very, very last is anything sentimental, because if you start there, you're not going to get very far in. That one's hard. Yeah, but like expired cereal, not so hard to get rid of for most people. Yeah, there's a few people, but most people are okay with at least all expired food going. So
I love that. What about, we just touched on husband wives, but what about kids? Because I don't know, I'm even thinking about mine. She's funny. As she's getting older, I'm seeing more and more traits of mine where she's like, well, we need to do this or we need to do that. And I'm like, yes, we're here. I'm teaching organization. But in general, I feel like most young kids don't just think like, oh, I'm going to put every toy back when I'm done playing, or I'm going to make sure that my room is spick and span. Like, that's not their priority. Their priority is play. So how do you set kids or families up for success with kids?
Okay. I've probably got 8 things to say about that.
That's okay. Go for it. I asked a lot in that.
Okay, so first I would say start with less. So kids really do not need the amount of toys that most of them have. And there's actually been scientific studies where kids play so much better and they're just happier in general when they have less, because they get overwhelmed just like we do, right? So I would say 1, start with less, get rid of everything. And if you can't get rid of it initially, like at least bin it up so they don't have access to everything all at once, because that's when things get out of control. 2, I would say use open lidded bins or bins without lids. So that is actually an ADHD hack, because there's this like invisible barrier. I have ADHD, my husband, all of our kids. So that's why I know all these things. You're and like, now I give them to clients. Professionally and personally. So not having a lid gives you just quick access to, so you can just throw something in. So if you have to take the lid, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it's like there's invisible barrier where it's like, oh, too many steps, can't do it. I'm just going to throw it on the floor. So not having lids. So we usually do cube shelves, and they have the open bins, and we just toss those in. And then labeling is huge. And even for little kids, we have, we make custom labels for all of our clients. And they even have cute little, like a little car or a little, doll or something like that. So that helps even with literacy, early reading. So
you're teaching them.
Right.
Same time.
Right? I know, like win across the board. So I would say labeling, open bins, starting with less, and then also leading by example. So, if we are mad at our kids because they're not picking up our shoes, our makeup is all over the bathroom counter, that's kind of a hard one to swallow. So I think just leading by example and just making systems, instead of creating systems where you want them to do stuff, like put systems where the habits already are. So like if they're already tossing their shoes right by the front door, well, don't bring the shoe basket in here in the living room. Just put the system where the habit already is, because it's a lot easier to change a system than a habit. So that's a good one to hop.
I love that.
Well, we were talking about this earlier, but the next question is going to be, do I really need all of those bins? And all of those, do we really need all of those bins? It sounds like probably the bins are a huge part of helping organize.
They're a huge part. Now, do I think you need to decant your milk into glass jars? No. I mean, if you want to, I'm not going to.
All the time in the world.
If you have nothing better to do, they actually have like these yogurt decanters that are like this big. I'm like, who is out here doing this? Who has time? Who has time to decant their yogurt? But that kind of thing, I would say no. But really, all a basket is boundaries for your stuff, so it's not falling all over the place. So yes, you need bins and baskets. Now, depending on your budget, you can get them at Dollar Tree, you can get them at Walmart, you can get it at Container Store, you can get them at Pottery Barn. It ranges, but really some sort of containment is a key for organization, containing and labeling. Otherwise, you're just going to end up right back where you were.
I have personally found too that bins are really, really easy. Yes, for Atlas, our little one, but even for myself, like I have bins in the pantry, things like that, and it's just, you just toss it in there, but you know it's still categorized, and you still got, so I love all that. I had another thought while you were talking about the bins. Something that I like to apply too, even if I have the bins and we're all organized, is at the end of every day, the house is picked up. It's not perfect. It doesn't happen every night, but I would say 5 nights out of the week, like that is a rule of thumb that I have for every common area and for like my little girl's room. Before she gets up in bed, I'm like, we got to get these things back. And it seems to help too, because then you're not overwhelmed. It's not like a once a week thing where, I need an hour to clean up my room. Yeah. It's, I need 3 or 4 minutes, if that, to toss these things in.
Right.
So
and that's something we do for clients too, and we do at our own house. We call it a 10-minute tidy up, and we have an alarm that goes off every night at 7, and that way everyone just stops what you're doing, do a quick 10-minute tidy up. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's going to be better than it was. Yeah. And then again too, if you're starting with less stuff, it's not going to take you 45 minutes every time you clean up, but it's going to take you less time. So that's good.
That's really, I feel like setting a timer or an alarm of some type can be really beneficial in so many areas of life. Yes. My mom has a timer that'll go off to remind her to be grateful for something. It's so cute. And she's like, cute. Oh, I'm going to be thankful for, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this so much.
And then she produced you. I love
that. But all that to say, I think like setting a timer and being like, okay, let's 10-minute tidy up. That's a great little way to get everybody on board. You hear the noise, you know it's coming. It kind of programs you to, because otherwise I think you have the intention to clean up before bed, and then it's 9 o'clock and you're tired and whatever. You got to get the kids down and you're over. Oh, they have, things get pushed. And so I think a timer is that's a really good way
probably almost makes it a little bit of a game too, especially for the younger kids.
Oh, I'll do that. I'm like, I only have 5 minutes to get this done. And then I'm like, I can do it in 4. I get competitive with myself. It might just be me though.
No, it's me too. You're fine.
I love it.
Okay. I think I have 2 other thoughts, and you answer them how you want to. What are some of your favorite organizing systems in general? Obviously, we've already talked about bins and baskets, kind of the importance there. But is there any other ones that you're like, if you can spend money on these things? The second thing would be, say somebody doesn't have a lot of money, they don't have the money to maybe bring someone like you in, but they want to get their house organized. How would they start? Like, what would you suggest they do? So those 2 different things.
Okay. So an investment for any system, I would say your entryway, having some sort of mudroom system, because that is a high use area. Like there's always going to be shoes, coats, that sort of thing. Even if it's just hanging some hooks and putting down some baskets on the ground, I think that's a super, super big bang for your buck right there. Yeah. And then as far as if somebody doesn't have the money, just wants to do the whole thing on their own, I would say start with a black trash bag.
I love that.
Start with a black trash bag and go around your house. Even if you do 15 minutes a day, it's going to make a difference. And in the past, I've even gone through my entire house. I literally list out, okay, this closet, this room, this nook, this cranny, and I'll just go through. I do it probably once a year, and just really go through everything, because even if I'm not decluttering on a regular basis, we all accumulate. We have 7 people and a dog at our house, so we accumulate a lot of stuff. So that's where I would start. It was with a black trash bag and a maybe 15-minute timer or longer if you can do it. And then after that, I would say, okay, what area is bringing me the most stress, but that's not emotional for me. So if it's your closet, but you're super attached to your clothes, then maybe don't stay there. But if you're also kind of stressed about your kitchen, let's go ahead and knock out your kitchen. And then anytime you organize a space, you have to take everything out. You really just got to start with a clean slate, take everything out, and then you can really get a feel for one, what you still have, but two, where things can go. You know, you really can't see it when you're still looking at stuff in the cabinets. So we really clear out every single space every single time because we have to be able to see it as a clean slate to be able to see what can be done there.
Yeah. I feel like it's, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I feel like it's always so eye-opening as to how much stuff you have.
Oh, yeah.
When you pull everything out.
That is exactly what I was going to say. I think when you do organize, like you get started and all of a sudden you're like, I don't need to buy anything for a while, you know, like, and even if you look at like, why did I buy another tube of mascara when I have like 3 in there that now need to be thrown away. Right. So when you're organizing and you keep that as part of your, maybe like once a month you go in or you have some type of system in place, I feel like it will probably also keep you from buying things that you don't really need. I've done that before. I'm like, oh, I just bought a whole nother pack of, you know, light bulbs. And then I realize I have them that I just put them somewhere else instead of having it organized. And then you're like, oh, I really could have I also thought I needed something that I didn't need because it was out of sight, out of mind. And I didn't have it properly organized, labeled, all of those things. So
and organization really does save you money because then you're not buying multiples of things and you're saving time, which is money. So it really does help in every area of your life.
I love that.
I love that. Do you have anything else?
No, I love hearing the like psychology behind it. I was going to ask you personally, do you find yourself like you can do it for others, but it's hard for you to do at home? Or is it like your home is very well organized, you keep it that way all the time? I just love to hear, because sometimes people help other people and then it's also like, yeah, but don't come in my house right now.
It's like a therapist that's really good at doing therapy.
No, I just love to hear, because I think about organization, it's such a thing, and does it wear you out? Like, so getting back home to your home, and I'm not talking about tidy, I just mean like organized. Is it something that you really thrive on in your home life as well?
So it is literally the only way I can function is to be organized. But we also, our house isn't huge. We have, I think, 2,800 square feet, but we have 7 people in it and 2 businesses running out of it. So we really have to have everything organized. So like literally everything's labeled, every space. Now, is it tidy all the time? No, because again, I have 5 kids.
You live life.
We live a life and we are busy, but we have systems in place where we can tidy everything. It really is organized just because I can't function any other way. And I've seen where it can go. I think it actually is like helpful to be with clients and see where it can go. I'm like, oh, I actually need to maybe tighten up a little bit here.
Rein it in.
Sometimes it's inspirational. It's like, oh, we had so much fun in their pantry today. Let's do our pantry again, or let's redo that one. But I do have to kind of, and I was talking to Karen, our lead organizer, about this yesterday. We have to ration ourselves. Like, we have to be like, okay, we're not going to organize at home because we know we have to work tomorrow and we don't want to like give out all of our energy to our own kitchen when we're doing a kitchen tomorrow. So
that's so fair.
That's so funny.
It's funny, when I was helping my mom downsize this year, as I was helping her get rid of things, I was like, I want to go and get rid of more things at my house. And I'm the type that will throw out almost too much. And then like a month later, I'm like, oh, I really need it though. Like, shoot. So I had to like control myself in that season, because I was like, I just want to throw everything away.
But I think it is interesting if you struggle to throw things away. It's usually, if you dig a little deeper, you have some type of like scarcity mindset, because it's like our stuff is what we have. And at the end of the day, it's stuff, you know, but if you can look at it and go, okay, well, I want to live in abundance, not in scarcity. So why do I have to hold on to this? It can be really powerful to throw things away. And like you said, like, it might not be serving you well. It might be, you know, like you said, you have to function. You do function better with structure and organization. So I think if you can look at it for what it is, and a lot of times it's scarcity, then you don't want that in your life, right? So it's easier to throw away the 3rd tube of mascara because, you know what, I don't want to live scarcity in a scarcity mindset, you know?
I've heard it equated to like, this is what I poured my money into as well. this is what I've poured my time into, and now I'm just throwing it away, which is a really interesting thought, because I'm like, yes, but if this item isn't serving you, and actually it's probably hindering you at this point, does that $50 you spent on it 3 years ago matter at this point? Because you're not recouping it. Like, that's not, unless you have a garage sale, you might get a little something or whatnot. But that is interesting, which I think goes along with the scarcity for sure. But it's not just like, oh, I love this thing. It's also, I spent time, I spent money. This is what my life has amounted to, opposed to like connections or friendships or things like that. I think a lot of people are tied to their material items in that way.
Absolutely.
And we have a lot of people that are like, oh, this one was expensive. I'm like, well, you can't make your money back by keeping it in your closet. And actually, it costs you more money because you're paying to store it.
Right.
You're paying now to have us come help you.
Yeah.
So it really does, clutter actually cost you money, and it costs you time. So you can't make the money back by holding on to it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that's a great way to end. Clutter costs you money.
Clutter costs you.
It does.
It costs you
Clutter
money.
will cost you something.
It costs peace. It costs so
Absolutely.
much.
Absolutely.
Oh my
This really
gosh.
does make me want to go home and open my closet.
Do it.
You should do
I'm
it.
going to.
If you find any cute clothes, send them my way. She does that. She'll be like, I'm getting rid of
I
this.
have
I'm
a
like,
bag
yes,
of stuff.
please.
Shelby's like, let me go through it. And it's so true, though. I have friends, though, that are like, oh my gosh, I want that,
Yeah.
you know? And then I get their stuff, and I'm like, yeah, we just need to mix it up.
Yeah.
I've done those fun, like, shop your closets. I love those.
One more question, because I know bringing in a professional in can be so helpful, but even like my sister, she just doesn't want to do it by herself. Like, so she'll be like, do you want to come over? And I found even with my closet, I have a friend, a really good friend. She's like, I love going through other people's closets, and she can be like, oh no, you already have that. You already have that. So have you found that like some of it is just like having someone else there to like help you, the process not be so either
Overwhelming.
boring or like, oh, I got to sit here by myself, or like put music on. Like for someone who can't afford to pay someone, would you say like get a buddy?
friend.
Yeah, get a friend to come over, put some
Yeah.
music on, make it like a
fun thing.
make a packing party, you know,
Right.
but like a decluttering party.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually, when I did my closet 3 or 4 months ago, I was like, hey, Abigail, my oldest, I was like, hey, Abigail, can you come hang out with me while I declutter the closet? Because then I just need someone to bounce ideas off of. You know what I mean? So sometimes my team will come and refresh the space for me, but I'm like, I just want someone to talk to about it. I'm an external processor. I've got to talk these shirts out. So
yeah.
I think that's a great, that's a great idea.
You think this is still cute? Google it.
Yes, Google
Yeah.
it. Yes. Yeah, it's always good to have a buddy to do
Yeah.
things with, for sure.
Well, that's awesome. That's a great tip for people that are just like, I would love this, but there's no way I can afford it. Because it is more of a luxury item for a lot of people. And so grab a friend, turn on some music, maybe a little bit of wine.
Yes.
Don't spill the wine on anything. But
I heard a quote that was like, and I love it. I've posted it a few times where I'm like, I wish that there was confetti in tires so that when you have a blowout, it'll feel like a party. And it's like,
that is
so me. But if you have something daunting, like cleaning out your closet, that's like, make it fun. Like bring somebody in, have some wine, like make it a party, put some music on, and just, it kind of makes it not what it is. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, let's go through this together. Or hire a professional and you don't have to mess with it.
I suggest hiring a professional. That would be the direction
Probably
I would go.
the best use of it.
But if you can't,
yeah,
have a party.
absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Brittany, thank you so much for your time and your expertise. I think this is going to be very helpful for
Yeah.
people starting out in 2025 and just kind of setting those goals for a new year. So
yeah,
thank
and
you.
then how do people get to how do people
Contact
find you?
you.
How can they contact you? I was like, what do I say? Get to know you, but then I was like, it's not a date. Either way, how can people contact you?
So we're most active on Instagram. It's b.beautifulyorganized on Instagram. We're on there probably
B-E?
b dot, like
B-
the
okay.
B for Brittany.
Okay.
So b.beautifulyorganized.
Okay.
And then Instagram, we're on there all the time. Facebook, sometimes on there.
Sounds like me.
I feel like that's kind of how Facebook
Yes.
becomes.
Yes. And our website is bebeautifulyorganized.com, the letter B.
Perfect.
Awesome.
We'll put it in show notes
Okay,
too,
perfect.
for people.
Thank you,
So-
Brittany. You've been
Thank
fantastic.
you. Thank you guys so much for having
Appreciate
me.
your
It was so
time.
fun.
Awesome. Well, that's a wrap for today, guys.
Bye.
Bye.